We'll try and bring you that. I'm sure you all read the comments that came out initially when he was talking to Dave McIntyre on Sky after the game last week, that he felt that maybe he was a lightning rod for the criticism, and that was also starting to get to the players. And we've had numerous inter-county managers, James Horan, Micheál Donoghue, talking about hate mail. And listen, I didn't even think people had to go past Twitter anymore to put abuse out there. Like, Liam, as an inter-county manager, I'm not sure as a football manager in Tipperary if it's quite the same as maybe what Mick Ryan would have faced as the hurling manager, but is it something you'd be well aware of, that there is letters coming in the post, that the level of criticism oversteps the mark quite regularly?
Well, I'm aware of it from other people's point of view, and you've mentioned Tipperary hurling manager would be Kerry manager and so on, but I have to say, I've managed Limerick, I've managed Tipperary, and I've managed Laois. I haven't got any letters. I got one or two complimentary letters, but I haven't got any abusive letters, touch wood, so far. The nearest that's come to it is some character. When I was in charge of Laois, we were being beaten by Wexford, and he came down in Croke Park and started roaring, you know nothing about Laois football and so on. So that was the closest I came to getting abuse, I suppose, in relation to it. So maybe I've been lucky, but I would say, yeah, it's the counties where they expect to get results. I would say they're the counties that come under most pressure. But there's no place where, as Eamon Fitzmaurice said, telling a player to jump off a cliff and take, that guy should. To be honest, I think that guy should be prosecuted, whoever he is. That would be my view. But I can't say I've personal experience of it.
You're from Kerry, so you know the intense pressure that's there to succeed, and an expectation, and I think someone was writing about this, almost an entitlement for success among some Kerry supporters, not realising how difficult it is to actually go and win over 30 All-Ireland titles.
Yeah.
Is it particularly venomous? Do you see that looking from the outside at what's aimed at the Kerry football manager, that it feels different to even other counties?
There's huge interest in it. I was reminded of Paul Galvin. I read his book, and he said he was in a hardware store buying something Sunday, and a 70-year-old man came up and caught him by the wrist. And he just welled up, tears in his eyes, and it was after they'd been beaten by Dublin in an All-Ireland semi-final or final, and he didn't say anything, he couldn't say anything, and Paul just said to him, I know, and that's how much it meant. But I mean, there's some people are over the top about it, and that's the reality of it, and in these counties you're going to get some of that spilling over into abusive letters. Now, I wouldn't condone that. I don't think anybody should be getting abusive letters for an amateur sport, but unfortunately it is.
Ricey McMenamin down in Galway, and I think Joe McMahon was on the show yesterday, and look, it's easy a decade on after getting these letters to look back and laugh, but for young 19, 20, 21-year-old Kerry players who are just emerging wondering, am I going to have to put up with this for the next decade? It's a totally different story. But like Ricey was telling stories of, weirdly, a letter coming from Kerry abusing him and going into some of the really terrible things that happened around Tyrone football over the last decade, and bringing all this up, and really nasty, vitriolic stuff that you just wouldn't expect. Like, as a player, is it something you would have seen? Was it more online in the last couple of years?
You see, letter writing, really, is probably anyone under 30 may have never written a letter in their life. I'd say it's probably an older thing, but like social media, in terms of Twitter or message boards, that's the forum for the younger generation to really have the go, and they do, and if you're very active at that level. So I'm sure a lot of the young Kerry players, they might never get a letter, but they'll get plenty through other forums, because that's the way a lot of communication is done now. And it is tough, and there's been plenty of instances over the last couple of years in different counties you hear of pressure players found and getting slaughtered on message boards and these things, and you say that shouldn't matter, it shouldn't circulate, but the reality is that's what people are reading, and that sets the sort of narrative, and it is difficult, and it's not, you're fighting against the tide and stuff like that. It's not something that we can talk about it, we can sort of say how bad it is, but it's just because how passionate people are about the GAA. You won't get it, I'm not being disingenuous about rugby, because you don't have that real die-hard passion for your club or your county. Soccer as well, maybe not in Ireland, but GAA people are just so passionate in Kerry and that, and especially in the successful counties, because you get to a level, and when that success goes, you just want it back, and it's so tough for them not to get it. And I was just laughing, I was talking to Liam before, Monaghan's at now at the minute, I can guarantee you Malachy O'Rourke will not get any letters, because they're not just at that level of tradition, of success, of demand. Almost it's okay not to succeed. You'll still get that sort of pat in the back, and sometimes you need that little bit of a pressure and edge to keep you up there and push you over the line. So you don't want hate mail
for the Tyrone players if they lose tomorrow compared to the Monaghan players.
Exactly. So it does come hand in hand with success, but obviously for Amos Fitzmaurice it just got almost intolerable, and I can only imagine what they have to deal with down there.
It's very difficult, particularly for those younger players now, to switch off, not to go on Twitter, because also they want to see if there's something good been said, but by and large it's going to be pretty negative. It's almost impossible at this stage to switch off and not hear it.
For every good comment you'll get about yourself, there's probably 10 the other way, and that's just the way social media goes.
I thought it was a bit disappointing as well during the week. Amos Fitzmaurice came out and said it, but then all of a sudden there's a raft of people out behind him that, I got them. And he talked about the Galway minor hurling manager got something from the parents. Look, does that need to be aired in the public? I personally don't think it does. I feel sorry for the guy that gets them, but look, I think they should just put them to bed and just move on from it. There's no point dragging it out now a couple of days later. Fair enough. Eamon's one you can identify with, because you can't name players, and jump off a cliff was a terrible comment to make, but look at, I got letters, we've all got them just stating about the state of the team and this and that, but you don't throw them in the bin, they light a fire.
Yeah.
And in fairness to Eamon, I think he brought it up. He brought it up to protect the player.
Exactly. Yeah. We're not
because of the player.
Eamon's grievance, you're 100% behind. It's no place in that, But in general, you can't say that Kerry footballer supporters are bad people. There's one or two bad eggs in every.
It's a minority. There is a minority.
I guess a lot of these managers, when they're bringing it up, though, even if it is a couple of years ago, it's just to show the level of pressure that is put on you, because people look at an inter-county job as if it's the dream job for people, and it's all sweetness in life. It's not.
And I'm sure if Jack O'Connor spoke to Pat O'Shea and Amos Fitzmaurice, if they compared the three letters they got, you can guarantee the handwriting is probably the same. It's coming from the same probably couple all the time.
You're just giving them oxygen, really, and you're giving people ideas in their head. So
unfortunately, back in our time, I'm not saying the youth of today have more access to social media. Back in our time, you talk about Ryan McMillan, he'd give you a running commentary when you're marking him. Great crack.
Did he write a letter?
But when the game is over, he'd shake your hand and you go for a beer. It was great. Whereas nowadays, I don't think with social media that fellas are kind of more prepared to deal with that kind of criticism, and they're probably not fit for it as much as not as thick-skinned as we were.